but there's a drop down on there. And so you can ask for whatever you want. So, but nah, man, let's, if it's going, let's roll. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it.
Oh yeah. All right.
Cool. Tell me more about you guys so I know where we're going. Like, so because I can give you this on film all day long or on audio, whatever, but I know what this is behind me. But what are you guys all about? What do you bring into the table? Why did you guys start this? And where do where you want to take it?
So there's an easy answer and a harder, longer answer. So it started a while ago of just Ben and myself. I'm like, of just like just fucking around with each other.
Yeah.
Going, I think we're kind of like a little conceited, like we're kind of hilarious. And, wouldn't it be funny to like record some of the things we do? So that was like a year ago. So
okay,
like kind of like just procrastination and life happened, and we were finally like, why don't we do like a real podcast? So like, but we have to do something that is kind of meaningful or at least structured, not just recording us dicking around watching fights and sports or whatever. So then we're like, why don't we just kind of structure it? So which we kind of did. And then the last few weeks or last like 4 or 5 weeks, we were just kind of like, what's going to put us apart from everyone else is, well, both of us are recovering alcoholics and addicts.
Okay.
And so we're kind of like, we have fun. We're kind of, living life to its fullest. But if we can kind of pepper in like our past, what we were, where we want to go, and that journey along the way, as well as talking about UFC, the Bruins, stupid foods we taste, women, like all the stuff that put that in as well. That's going to, at least like you just said earlier, like, people that eventually will hear this now or eventually are going to go like, that's fun, but wow, there's some authenticity. There's some truth behind that. Everyone has a story. What's ours? And we want to know what's everyone else's. And that's kind of where we're at with it.
Bro, love it, man. That just to give you the same thing, man, Optimal Self and the platform and what we're building is exactly the same thing, man. You know what I mean? Like, there's accolades, right? People are like, oh, you played professional baseball. You went to the CrossFit games. I run a very successful real estate company today. But dude, I was never the best player. I was never the best kid. My dad was an alcoholic, man. Like, you know what I mean? It was abuse and it was all those things. So like, I haven't seen the dude in God knows how long, you know what I mean? Like, so but let's just be clear. He was just like his dad. Right. So he fell straight off the tree and did the same shit. You know what I mean? He didn't seek more. He didn't seek better. He didn't think, he just still to this day, God knows where he is. God knows what he's doing. Probably got it. I'm in California at 1 o'clock right now. He's probably got a drink in his hand, a beer, or he hasn't woke up from whatever he did the night before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you have a choice, man. Right. Like, there's I don't even remember what book it was, but it says it's got these twin brothers, right? And one of them is an alcoholic, right? And down on his luck, 1-bedroom apartment. And the other twin is a high level CEO, millions and millions of dollars, built schools, built all these things. You got these same dudes. And they asked the first one, how did you get where you are? Why are you the way you are? And he said, oh, because my dad was an alcoholic. And then you have the other guy and they said, how did you get where you are? How does it? He said, because my dad was an alcoholic.
That's
right? Because you can follow that shit or you can make a different choice.
Yeah.
And that's what most people don't realize in life is that, look, where you are right now, no matter what age, once you're out of adolescence and you're on your own, let's talk about adults, right? Like where you sit in this moment are choices you have made. Not because your dad, not because your mom, not because whatever. We can blame it on that shit. And there are people that have come from really bad situations. There are people that have had way worse than probably any of us three sitting here right now, right? But at the end of the day, if you really want to know, we have a choice. And we are where we are because of the choices we've made. So one of the things with Optimal Self that we say in our coaching and our training is that and I hope people hear this, is that the moment in your personal life that you can take responsibility for everything in your life, every single thing that there is, the car you drive, the house you live in, the job you have, whatever, the person you live with, whether a divorce, not a divorce, if you're married, if you're whatever, if the moment you can take responsibility for everything in your life, you unlock your own potential to have anything in your life, because you truly start to understand, hey, it's time. Like, fuck it. It's called autonomy. I am responsible for me. I am responsible for the results. And the moment we can shift that in our brain, we can reframe it, then you unlock such a bigger potential for yourself. It's because I'm no longer living in the past. I'm no longer living of that past. Right. And so, I mean, I'll just keep going. Interrupt me anytime you guys want. But the thing that our platform and what I want to bring to the world today is an environment where people understand, I don't give a shit what your past was. Because here's the thing I always get, right? Because I love to train, right? I love to work hard. You know, you see me at the beach with my shirt off, you know, there's a six pack, but people are like, oh shit, bro, fuck. You know what I mean? I remember when I was in high school, I used to have that. I said, motherfucker, I'm 50. Like, get the fuck out of here with that, right? Like, there's no excuse why you can't. But here's the thing. If you look at most people are prisoners of their past. And what I mean by that is this, even the glory days. Imagine if I'm sitting here with you dudes and all I want to talk about is, oh, the glory days. Oh, when I was, right? Yeah. The fuck does that have to do with today?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing. Because let me be very clear. That dude that won an event at the CrossFit Games, that dude that hit a home run in front of 50,000 people, that dude would get his ass kicked in my life today. He would get his ass kicked. He's not good enough. Today is a whole different world. It's a whole different animal. That dude is not good enough for today. So if I lived in that past, I would be screwed. Now, those are accolades. And the worst prison to be in is the one you don't even know you're in, is because I'm locked into the past. And here's the same thing. Look, I get that there's people that have come from really shitty things. I mean, I interview people, we talk to people all the time that I hear stories and I'm like, holy shit, I want to go find that man that abused or hurt that little girl or that little boy. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, yo, let's put one of these on them. Like, who do I got to find? Right? Like, come on now, you know, but at the end of the day, whether it's bad or whether it's great, don't be a prisoner of your past. Let's start creating your future. Let's start creating the better version of you. Because look, the guy who you and I, us three talking today, if we meet again a year from now and we're still the same person, we're going to be getting our ass kicked, bro. Yeah. Right? It's not going to be good enough. So yeah, man, that's where we're at, man. So
was there like some event, were you always just like looking for personal growth, or was there something that happened that clicked in you that made you like spark this journey? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean. I would say there's several. I mean, if we start in the early days, you know, at an early age, you know, sleeping on floors of bars with my dad, you know, being the drunk at the bar and a waitress having us to take us home and waking up at somebody's house that you never met before because he was so drunk at the bar he couldn't even, you know, that they wouldn't even let him, you know, and we were literally sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
You know that. So I mean, I knew it at a very young age that wasn't going to be me. Like, right. I wasn't going to be that guy. I didn't want any part of that, you know. And what's crazy to tell you guys is that for a lot of my life, when I would see and have friends or even, you know, a girlfriend that would drink too much and act like that, I would instantly be out. I'm out. Like, it would bring up these feet. And I didn't know where they came from, though, to be honest with you. Right. I just knew how I was like, oh, I can't stand that. That's disgusting. Get that shit out of my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it shouldn't have been about them. It was about the way I felt because of as a child. So to answer that, yes. But I'll give you a very important turning point in my life at a young age was, I mean, obviously I went on to play professional baseball. went to Gonzaga University, was, you know, an all Pac-10 player there, and was very fortunate to sign with the Reds, played with the Diamondbacks. Like it's an amazing time of my life. But I want everyone to know is that I wasn't the best kid. I didn't make all-star teams at a young age. Like, you know, you wanted me on your team because you knew I was going to hustle. I was going to play hard. You know what I mean? But I wasn't the kid that was going to win you a championship. I wasn't going to hit a home run and save the game or get up and strike every kid out. You know, those of you, if you ever played sports, anybody who's listening, there's always that like 12-year-old kid that's like full grown with a beard, just kicking the shit out of everybody. You know what I mean? Because his balls are dropping testosterone at like 8. You know what I mean? Like that shit didn't happen to me till I was like 20. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I'll give you a legit paradigm shifting moment in my life so I was 13 years old, and my best friend's dad was the coach, who was very much like a dad to me, you know, a mentor. And that 13-year-old year, our team won the championship. And so in that age, when your team wins a championship, that coach is the coach for the all-star team. And I was like, man, this is the year, man. We won the championship. You know, I played good, you know, and shit, this guy who, you know, I get to go on vacation with them as family. His kid is my best friend, right? Is like, I'm going to make the all-star team. They announced the team at the end of the year, and my name doesn't get called. And it was soul crushing. You can imagine 13-year-old boy, you know, and in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to make it. Right. And, you know, afterward, you go have the pizza party, right? The parents are all there drinking beers, and the kids get to play video games, and they bring a bunch of pizza. And so I see him standing on the side, and I go over to him, and I'm like, you know, tug on his shirt, and he looks down. He's like, yes, son. And I said, hey, why didn't I make the all-star team? How come you didn't pick me? And he looked me dead in the face. And I'm going to tell you boys right now, I can tell you to this day, that's a 13-year-old boy. And today I'm 50 years old. So it's a long time ago, but I can still tell you what he was wearing. I can tell you what I was wearing. I can tell you the sounds that were happening. It's so still vivid in my mind. And he looked me dead in the eye, and he said, because you weren't good enough. Now listen, dude, like that's soul crushing, right? Anybody who hears this is going to be like, what? If you're a parent and you're like, if somebody told my kid they're not good, like, and that's what happened, right? And so in that moment, it crushed my soul. I mean, I had to wait till the moment that I could break away, because I didn't want to cry in front of anybody. And I went and I cried, and I ran to the front, and I asked the lady to use her phone. We didn't have cell phones in those days. We couldn't just, you know, phone a friend. Like, I'm going to call my mom. I'm like, yo. So I begged this lady, this worker, can you please let me use the phone? Please, I need to call my mom. I need to call my mom. She's like, you know, she could probably see the look in my face. She's like, yeah, let me get this kid the phone, right? She gets me the phone. She dials the number for me. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, you got to come pick me up. And she's like, what's going on? It's a sleepover, right? Like, you're with, you know, the family that you've been since I was like 5. I've known these guys, right? Like, they've been in my life. So I'm like, please, Mom, please, please, please. And she's like, fine, I'm on my way. So I hand the lady back the phone. I don't even go back to where everybody's sitting. I literally go out the front door, and I sit on the curb and just wait for my mom to pick me up, because I'm crying and like trying to get my shit together. And my mom pulls up, and I jump in the car, put the seatbelt on. I'm like, just go, Mom, just go. And she's like, tell me what's going on. I'm like, just go, Mom, please. And she's like, I'm not moving this fucking car until you tell me what the hell is going on, right? So I tell her, and like any parent, she's like, what? She's taking this car into the first available parking spot. Like, I'm going in to give this son of a bitch a piece of my mind, right? And I'm like, please don't, Mom. Like, I'm embarrassed. Please, can we just go? Can we just go? Like, please don't do this to me, you know? And she's like, and I don't know that she knew what she was doing. Yeah. Okay, I don't. My mom is an amazing, amazing woman. Again, she was 16 when I was born. So it was babies having babies, right? Like, let's be clear. But I'm going to tell you right now, like, I don't know if she knew what she was doing. And she's to this day my hero. And she looked straight at me in that car, and she said, fine. Right now, she's saying, fine. What do you want to do? What are you going to do about it? Literally looks at me. And I'm going to tell you right now, I get the same sense of calm over my body that happened in that moment. Because when she asked me that question, it hit me and she's like, so what are you going to do about it? Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't want me to go in there, you don't want me to handle this shit. What are you going to do? And I'm telling you, even right now, I can feel the same sense of calm that came over my body. And so I was like, oh, right. And I was like, can we go to Big Five? So those of you that don't live on the West Coast, that was the sporting goods back in the day, right? They have like Dick's and shit, but just imagine the massive sporting goods company, right? That has everything you could probably imagine for sports. Yeah. It's called Big Five in those days. I said, Mom, can we go to Big Five? And she's like, what? Like, she didn't even know what it is, right? She's like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't want to go get ice cream, or let's go to freaking Target and get a toy, right? Like, she's not like, she wants to cover it up, right? Like parents, we want to just mask it. And I was like, can we just go to Big Five? She's like, whatever, fine. Pull out. It's not very far away. We pull in, we walk in, just like I told you, I can see what he was wearing when he said that to me. Yeah. I can see walking in that. We walked over to the baseball section. I pointed up, it was a yellow sign. It said $19.99 because it was on sale. All the other signs were white. It was yellow. And I said, can I have that? She's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, it's a batting tee, Mom. It's a batting tee. She's like, all this and all you want is a $19.99, a $20 batting tee. She's like, and all of us parents are like, $20 and my kid's going to be fine after all this. Like, going to stop crying, right? Hell yeah, let's do it. So she gets it off and we do. I went home that day, pulled that thing out of the box and I built it. And I promised myself, I'm going to hit 100 balls off of this thing every single day. Every day. I am going to go out back in the fucking rain. It didn't matter. In the rain, I would use tennis balls because they could soak up the water, right? Like, because in Southern California, it doesn't get super cold, right? You can still go outside in the rain. It's not like the East Coast and all that where you freeze your ass off. Like, I could still go in the backyard in the rain, but I didn't want to use the baseballs because the rain would wreck the baseballs. And so from that day forward, didn't matter what it was. Every day, I just went out there and hit balls. I just kept going out there and hit balls. I'd go out there and hit balls. Didn't matter rain, shine, whatever. Didn't matter what we were doing before or after school. Didn't matter when it was. And I just kept going. And I just kept hitting. And I kept swinging. And I'll tell you two things. One thing is that tee, I still have it to this day. Even when I would travel, even when I would move houses and all that kind of stuff, all these years later, it's a symbol to me. Because here's what ultimately happened. The next year, nope, didn't make the All-Star team. The next year, I barely made the high school team, sat on the bench, got more water for the team than I got at bats, right? The next year, got a little bit better. The next year, by the time I was a senior in high school, 18 years old, 5 years later, I led the team in hitting. I was the most valuable player of the team. And I also was an all-league player. And then I made my first ever All-Star team. I got chosen to be on the All Valley team, not just in our area, but the entire Valley. Got to play against the best kids in the entire state. Got chosen to play on those teams and was the only kid to get a scholarship to go play baseball after that. So I want people to realize is that we want instant gratification in our lives today. And if I would have went for instant gratification, I would have swung a couple times off that and went and expected it to be Babe Ruth. And that's not how it works. That's not how it works. If I would have done that and expected a result the next year, I probably would have stopped. Maybe I stopped playing baseball completely. But what I knew is I love playing. I want to go. I want to do this. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but if I know this, I'm going to hit those damn balls until I get and I feel better at it. And so again, it's not we overestimate, right? You've heard this before. We overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we can do in the next 5 years, right? Are you willing to put it in? Are you willing to put the time, the energy, the effort into whatever that task is? Building a business, losing weight, you name whatever it is that people have today in their life that they need and they want. They want a better life. They want to make more money, whatever it is. Are you willing to put in the time? What do you do when no one's watching? Because again, especially in sport, right? You have practice. Okay. So you go out there for an hour or two with your team, but there's 20 some other hours in the day that you can get better, right? It's not even in the gym. I tell people all the time, look, I can give you the program. I can tell you what to do. You can come train with me, but let me tell you something. I get you for 1 hour. You got 23 more to fuck it up. What are you going to do then? So that to me, because of, I was just like, yo, let's just keep going. That taught me so many lessons in going forward. It wasn't about the result. I wasn't like, oh, because listen, I still never became the best kid. I still failed at baseball because I wanted to be a Hall of Famer. I wanted to play 10, 20 years in the big leagues. And, I didn't sniff any of that. So baseball technically was a failure. I still made it farther. A really cool story about that team that year is years later, 7 of those kids, all those kids were my friends. They're still my friends to this day. 7 of those kids plus the coach bought a ticket to come to a professional baseball game and watch me play baseball. And I got to have dinner with them after, and we got to celebrate. We talked and all that kind of stuff. It's funny because a couple of the kids that were there that are my friends, they're like, yo, can I just say this? You're the last guy sitting at this table that I thought that we would be, watching play in the stadium, right? Like that's just what they believed, right? But I said, yeah, you're right. All of you. And I sat at the table and I said, look, all of you guys are better than me.
Right.
At 13, at 18, you weren't.
Right.
And today at 23, in those days, you're not even close.
Yeah.
Because when you guys were out smoking weed behind the thing, spotting beer at the local 7-Eleven, getting your older brother to buy you some beers, I was out back hitting balls. And the difference is now is what you have. And I told that story to our coach too, who was again one of my mentors and like a father to me. And he was devastated, dude. He was like, wait, what? I said, what to you? He did not even remember that day. He didn't. And he was so devastated. I'm like, no. Thank you. Yeah. I gave him a hug. I said, I love you because you told me the fucking truth, which never happens today. Now everybody gets a trophy. Now everybody, let's make sure let's not hurt anybody's feelings. Like, no, dude, that's not how life works. Like, guess what? All you adults that are hearing this, like, guess what happens? Every morning you wake up and you take those covers off and you put your feet on the floor. And guess who's standing there when you can't see him? It's a thing called life. And he's ready to smack you right in the fucking face. And if you're not preparing for that, if you're not ready, then that's when you're like, oh, but what about me? I need another handout, but I'm the victim. I grew up in this, or I didn't get that. And, oh, my coach, how many guys tell me, oh, I would have made it too, Jeremy, but the coach didn't like me. I was like, the coach told me I wasn't good enough right to my face, bro. like that's all bullshit, man.
So how do you, so you're pretty much a life coach in a sense, correct?
We do. Yeah. I mean, I would say, we focus on the individual, even in business coaching. And the reason is because your business grows to the extent that you grow.
Yeah.
Like your business will not grow. I don't care who you are and what it is. If you personally don't get better, there's no way.
So the question I got on that, because you hear about like that, that your friend's dad, that your coach. And I remember I grew up in the greater Boston area, right? And I remember so where I grew up is Lynn, Massachusetts, just a shithole of America. And so what we're told at a very young age, like, you're from Lynn, you're not going to be able to do anything in life.
Yeah.
But I took that and used that motivation to say, I'm going to get the hell out of Lynn and I'm going to make something of myself. But at the same time, in my crazy addict brain, I was paradoxical. I used that to help me in business, but my whole life was just a disaster behind the scenes. What you were talking about in your last podcast that we were just listening to earlier today about that. So like, it was paradoxical in the sense, like, I'm going to motivate myself because you think I can't do it, I'm going to do it. But my whole foundation was bullshit. It was just garbage. So when I guess it goes into kind of the question we had is like, in our recovery world, the key to our recovery is helping someone else. So when you're helping someone else and you find that, for us, it's the most rewarding, but it takes leadership. How do you get someone to find, like, I think people can have that. Like, I know I can just speak for myself. I know I have that to a degree, but I don't have that down to my core like you did at 13. So how do you grow that with someone? If that makes sense, like, it's a like I don't know if it's like if it's a natural ability, because I think you can learn anything. But I think if I put myself at 13, I would be like you to a degree, but I'm also secretly like behind closed doors where you talk about like Kobe Bryant and all that. I'm also going to be shooting up dope eventually too. So up front, I'll say like, "Yep, fuck you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be better." But I'll also say like, "Pour me in my arm." And
Yeah.
so it took a lot of it took hitting our bottom or my bottom to
Sure.
find that. But I like
yeah.
on an easier sense, like I think people can you develop that with someone, or is it God given, like you have to a degree? I don't know.
Well, man, I know exactly where you're going, and that is an awesome question that you're having. So I'd love to just play along with you in some context. So let me ask you this. Okay, so you're told, if you're from here, you ain't gonna amount to shit, right? Like, and that's very common, right? Especially in certain cities. There's a lot of states in the union that have that, right? Yeah. Yours happens to be Lynn, Massachusetts or whatever, right? Like, okay. And so you're like, well, wait, fuck that. Like, like, no, man, let's go do this. But there's an addiction path, right? That you're saying, hey, man. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
In those moments when you were choosing to shoot up or to get high, whatever that is, mm-hmm. right? What's the context around that? What was that moment that you were, yeah, man, this is more important than anything else on earth right now? What can you say that to?
I mean, it's like, it's hard because if I try to go back and think like I was. Mm-hmm. I think it's easier now to say what it was just pure laziness.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is really is like
undisciplined.
Thank you.
Yep.
Like, I'm not disciplined. Woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
World, I can't deal with life on life's terms.
Yep.
Even though I'm faking that I'm mastering life on my terms, but really I'm lonely in a room full of people, mm-hmm. and I'm disciplined and can't handle it.
Dude, I love that. Do you hear yourself, right? Like,
sometimes.
That's fantastic. Here's why is because what we opened this with was when I said to you, the moment you'll take responsibility for everything in your life, you unlock your personal potential to have anything in your life.
Yeah.
So again, that is you saying, now today, which is where we are. It's not like, oh, hey, tell me what you were thinking when you were that age. It doesn't really matter. The true question is, yeah, dude, like right now, when you look back at that guy, because that's that no matter what, even if you were the engineer who, wrote the fucking iPhone and you got accolades and you made, $3 billion, and did that. Guess what? That dude still to this day, that guy is not good enough, right? I have to look back and go, yeah, that was cool. But what's today?
Yeah.
Like, there's no different. So when I ask you that question, you're like, yeah, man, I was lazy and undisciplined. I was undisciplined. Here's why, is because so the question you have, it's all learned. I don't believe anybody's born with it. I don't believe Kobe Bryant was born with it. I don't believe Michael Jordan was born with it. Size, yes, right? Like their parents, whatever, like some of those attributes, absolutely. No, I'm just telling you my opinion. So crush me if you don't fucking believe me or agree with me that, dude, it's not born. Like I don't believe anybody's born with it, but I believe that we all have the power to have it. Does that mean I can do what Kobe did and then I'm going to be a fucking Hall of Fame basketball player? No, I'm a 5'10" fucking white guy from fucking Lancaster, California, who could barely fucking, could I get better? Sure. Could I get really fucking good? Could I grip my capacity to a certain level? Sure. But am I ever going to be Kobe? No, but that's not the point. There's a great book. I have it. I want to show it to you guys. You guys will fucking dig it, especially with addiction and stuff like that. It's called The Book of Five Rings. It's Miyamoto Musashi. Okay. He was a fucking samurai warrior in the 1600s and never lost a battle. In those days, like for real, right? Like fucking best swordsman in the history. You read about him. He says in there, he says, if you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything. My vision of that is this: excellence in anything increases your potential in everything. So what he was saying, so when we talk about this, when I'm talking with you two, I'm like, okay, let's get down to what can you do today? Not okay. If the goal is, you know, I'll give you a very, okay. So I owned a gym for a long time, a CrossFit gym, right? When I got CrossFit in my blood, I was like, fuck, I need a better place to train. So we were doing very well in real estate. So I built my own gym. I said, fuck it, I'll just pay for it. You know what I mean? If we get members, we get members. The idea was not to build a business. Ultimately, that's what we did. We built a very, very great 7-figure business that was incredible, sold that later on. But I want to tell you something that'll kind of go with everything that you just said is this. In there, we used to do assessments with everybody. Okay. So when you came to the gym, it wasn't a normal gym. I wanted to know who you were, what your goals were, why you showed up. How am I going to get you to show up day in and day out? Not one time, not do a cool work. Nothing. I need to dig deep inside of you because it's not cheap. It costs you $120 a month to come to my gym. You could literally park in the same spot you were parked in right now and rock across the parking lot and pay Planet Fitness $19. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why the hell are you going to pay me 120 when you can walk over there and walk into a gym and pay $19? Okay. Now we had this lady, and I'll take it down to one single person because it goes back to what you said earlier about helping others. So sitting with this lady, and everybody, we would do assessment, and in the assessment, I'd go down tons of questions, would be all personalized. And at the end, I would say, okay, great. So this lady was I'd say about 80 pounds overweight for what she should be. And when she came in, she was probably 100 pounds overweight. She was like, I want to lose 80 pounds. That's what she told me her goal was. I'm a mom. I got 3 kids, right? I've given up my whole life. I gave up my career. You know, my husband works and I am at my wit's end. I'm tired. I feel like shit. I look like shit and I want a better life. Okay. And that sounds very convincing, right? And you're like, okay, like, and I know what to do. I can give you meal plans. I for sure am going to be able to help you move better and get your heart rate up and burn some calories, like no problem. Okay. So we get through there and I would do this with every single person. Say, okay, close your eyes. On this sheet, you just told me you wanted to lose 80 pounds. I want you to close your eyes with me. And I want you to picture that girl. She's 80 pounds down. She's getting ready to go out to dinner with her husband, right? You're going to celebrate because you just hit that fucking number. You hit it. You did it. I want you to picture her. All right. What is she wearing? Is it a dress? Is it pants? What do you got? You got a pair of jeans that you love? Like, what is her hair up or is it down? She got earrings on, a necklace. Is there a pair of shoes that you love that you can't wait to wear? Like, and I would walk through, where are you going? What does she smell like? What perfume is she wearing? I want you to see her. Right. And I'm going to tell you right now, 8 out of 10 people, when they would dig in and they would really, truly, you could see them, it would move them. I mean, they would cry. I'd ask them questions. They'd bring tears to my eyes. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, and so she opens her eyes and I said, how do you feel? She's like, yeah, good. That was great. You know, super sweet lady. And I said, okay, what was she wearing? She's like, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I'm, and I go, wait. You didn't even fucking see her. If you can't tell me what she was wearing, you don't even see, she's a stranger to you. And that's not how this works. I said, so listen, 80 pounds is not important to you. She's like, what? I said, and I don't want to take your money. Like, yes, that helps our bottom line. Yes, we need the revenue. But if I can't help somebody, I'm going to tell you flat out, I can't help you. Right. And that's the truth. So this probably isn't the right program for you, but I know a trainer across the street, you know, it'll be cheaper. It'll be easier for you. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a better road. And she's like, what do you think? My credit card's not good? You think I can't afford this? Right. She's getting pissed off. I'm like, and I love that. I'm like, oh, yeah, give me some of that. Right. And I'm like, no, I think your credit card's great. I'm sure it'll work every fucking month, but I don't want to charge your credit card and you not come through that door at least 3 days a week. Oh, so now you don't think I'm going to show up? I said, not if you don't have a big enough purpose. And your purpose. I said, so let me ask you this. Screw all that. Is there anything ever in your life that you wanted? Like you fucking really, really wanted? Like is there something digging at your soul right now that you're like, I wish I would have blank? And she goes, you know what? I came here yesterday to meet you, but you weren't here. And I saw girls doing pull-ups. I go, yeah. And tell me more. She's like, and I came in today, and when I walked through there, I saw girls out there doing pull-ups. I'm like, yeah, we do pull-ups here for sure. Tell me more. And she goes, I want to do a fucking pull-up. I've been the fat girl my whole life in gym class in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. I was never the one, right? And so I'm like, now I'm getting, I just got chills. I'm getting fired up. Like, I'm like, come on. I was like, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll put you in this program and I'll get in that fucking boat with you and we will row the shit out of that boat together on one condition. Your single goal over the next 12 months is to do one fucking pull-up. She's like, okay, let's do it. One pull-up. I said, I don't care anything else. When you're sitting at home and you don't want to show up, when you're looking at that food and and McDonald's is right there and you're going to drive through and you need to make a decision on should I drive through or should I go home and cook or should I get my ass up and show up through the door? I want you to say to yourself, which one of these is getting me closer to a pull-up? Which one? Because now if you can get, and she's like, oh no, don't worry. We're going to do a pull-up. I'm going to do a pull-up. And we had a huge wall in the back that we painted with chalk paint. And so when you left that room with me, you walked over to that wall with a piece of chalk and you wrote your goal. It was the goal wall. You wrote it on the wall. She literally wrote to do an F''N pull-up. She signed it, put her date on there, everything that we do, right?
Oh, yeah.
And listen, boys, every day she walked through that door that I personally saw her or any of my coaches saw her, we literally would say, hey, one day closer to a pull-up, one day closer to a pull-up, right? You got here again. You're one day closer to that damn pull-up. Listen, about 7 months into this, she comes walking through the door. I'm coaching the class. It's a night class, 6 to 7 o'clock class, right? She's coming in for the 6 o'clock class and she comes walking in. She's got a big smile on her face. She's kind of like got a little skip to her, right? And I'm like, what's up, darling? She's like, hey. And she's like, today's the day. And I'm like, what's today? Like cheesecake day, happy hamburger margarita day. What are we talking about, bro? Like, she's like, I'm ready to do a pull-up. No band, no nothing. I'm ready to do a pull-up. I'm like, really? So just to kind of give a little more context, we had a side thing that we built for stretching, had bands, had a bunch of stuff. She had some really bad articulation of her shoulder. She had a really bad impingement in her shoulder. So one of the things that we built for her was making sure that scapula could run right. You know what I mean? So she could literally pull, her lat was completely shut off. Like we had to do some things to get her to be able to move right. So every day she came, that was one of the things that she would do is do these certain stretching exercises, you know, to engage and get her body moving correctly. That's a very important piece. If anybody's out there listening to this, like getting your body moving the way it's supposed to from the way that we've truly screwed it up over the last 2 decades, right? Sitting in chairs, hunched over on our phones, on our tablets, right? All the bad internal rotation. Anyway, so she had been working really hard and I knew it because I knew what the workout was because I've been there all day. And I know if at the end of this thing, she's going to be smoked. Like there's no way. Fatigue is going to be in. No one's doing pull-ups after this workout. It's a nasty workout. It's long. And so I said, I'll tell you what, get over there, do your shoulder stuff, but I want you to go like double speed. So I want you to break a sweat. I want you to, you know, try to move a little bit, get it nice and loose. And then I want you to, and she knows what I'm talking about. So she's like, yeah, okay, no problem. So I get over to the class and the class is like, what is she doing? How come she's not over here? And I'm like, listen, let's get warmed up. I said, you see the goal board? I said, yeah. And I went over and pointed to the board. I said, this is her goal. And she said, today is the day. And they're all like, what? No way. No way. You know what I mean? everybody rooting for each other. That's the great thing about those environments, right? Environments matter, people. Environments matter. Put yourself in environments to fucking succeed. You go to the drug house, you're probably going to do the drugs, right? You go to the fucking gym, you're probably going to work out. Like, let's just be clear. Like, so she comes over, man, and she's ready to go. And I'm, like I told you guys, from that day, she sat there when she turned over, like, oh, I don't know what I was wearing. And to the point where she was like, do a fucking pull up. Like, yeah. she kept that conviction, right? Which is a really, really strong place to be for anybody in anything in your life. So she comes over, man. Somebody behind me, because the music was playing, they turned the music off. Everybody starts gathering around, like, you know what I mean? Like circling her. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. But I mean, in such a positive environment, man, they're just feeding her with that. She jumps up, grabs onto that bar, man, and she fucking starts pulling. Little tight at the beginning. And then all of a sudden she gets about halfway, boom. And it looked like she shot out of a cannon, bro. She's like up over that bar. Her eyes get this big, dude. She drops down, runs over, gives me this hug. Like, you know, the hug where it's like full body, legs are around you. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God. Dude, people in the back are high-fiving. Everybody's screaming. She jumps down. She looks at me. We catch eyes. She starts crying. I start crying. People in the crowd are fucking crying. It's crazy, right? She runs back over and she does a couple more pull-ups and she's like, oh my God, it's like crazy. All right. So I'm going to circle this all back to what you said. Because I know people are like, wait, where's this going? Here's where it is. When we talk about helping others, that night, taught the next class is over. Everybody's gone, locked up, get all the dings, sweep up the mats, get it ready for the morning. And then I do all the business stuff, right? I'm reconciling. How many shirts did we sell? How many people did we see, right? All the business stuff that you do at the end, usually an hour or two post, right? The business owner stuff. And I'm sitting there, dude, and I'm on fire, man. Like my whole being is just like, I'm still on like cloud nine, like 4 hours later. Like, and the caveat to this whole thing is on that same goal board, my goal was a 500-pound deadlift, 181 pounds, deadlift 500 pounds. That afternoon, this is the serendipitous moment of all this. I pulled 500 off the ground that day. With my training partners, dude, same thing. We're high-fiving, bro sesh, right? We're chest bumping, dudes freaking forearm bashing, right? And it took me about 2 seconds and I'm over at the board and I'm crossing that shit out. I'm like, hell yeah. And I put 550 on the board, right? Moving on, let's go. And I hadn't even thought about it the rest of the day, right? It's a huge accomplishment in the world of what I was doing. And I never thought about it again. And to this day, that was 2011. So we're a decade later now, and it still fires me up to talk about that moment. If I see that lady in the grocery store, if I see her anywhere, she's gone on. How about this? You're talking about a lady that was 100 pounds overweight, never been to a gym in her life, never been able to do a pull-up. Today, she is an instructor. She's lost over 100 pounds. She's done like 4 marathons and a triathlon, and she helps moms now today, right? Everything that she learned and went through with what she has now moved on. And now she's teaching that and giving back to others. And that's what it comes down to. In that moment, I told you the paradigm shifting moment at 13. Well, this was a paradigm shifting moment I knew in that moment that I was always still upset about not being a lifelong baseball player, that I wasn't a career major leaguer that, had 100 baseball cards and everybody knew you and you're going to the Hall of Fame, and in that moment, everything changed because I knew I was put on this earth not to be a professional baseball player. I was put on this earth to be able to have those moments, because there's a difference between accolades and accomplishment and fulfillment. And fulfillment comes to exactly what you just said, right? Even being an addict, turning it from, hey, I got to get over this because it's all about me. But the moment you turn it to, hey, who can I help? Who can I talk to? Who can I give some kind of encouragement or be there for when they need it the most? And then they get to take that on. This is how life works, man. If you imagine that lake or a body of water that's just perfectly calm, and you walk over and your life is this little tiny pebble, you stand there, and upon death, we all drop it in, right? The day your eyes close, the day your heart stops beating, you are literally standing there, and you take that little pebble and you drop it, and it's going to hit the water. Those ripple effects, you want to go on forever. So every person that you touch, from the shit that you sat through, sucked at, all those nights that you, whatever, put that needle in your arm when you know what I mean? And now today where you are, you have the opportunity to have that conversation, to build something that you can get to that next person, and then they get to give it. And that's the ripple effect that we get to have. And we forget that, because why? Because we're so fucking focused on ourselves that we think it's, oh my God, I'm the only one who ever felt this way. I'm the only one who ever been through this. No, man. Not only are you not the only one, but there might be somebody out there that's had it worse. Yeah. And the great thing about our world today is you guys are in somewhere in Massachusetts, I'm guessing, and I'm sitting in California, right? Yeah. And we get to have a conversation that we get to put out onto the airwaves digitally, that hopefully somebody somewhere, doesn't matter, in, Tolupo, Mississippi, or Omaha, Nebraska, who normally we would never touch.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But they're going to hear this story, they're going to hear your story, and they're going to be like, oh shit, I'm not alone. There are people just like me. And that ripple effect is what we get to leave, man. And so that's the difference. So the answer to you is, fuck no, it's not born. It's earned. It's living it. You fucking earn the right to tell your story. Yeah, man, it's shitty. Yeah, we've done stupid shit, but you earn the fucking right to tell that story, because there's somebody out there that it's going to fall on their ears, and they're going to be like, yo, that dude's just like me.
Yeah. Well said, man. That's perfect. That's why your stuff correlates with our story so well, man. That's awesome, man. That's good stuff.
You got another question?
I don't think so, man. I think you covered everything, bro. that was dope, though, man. Jeremy, thanks for your time, bro. That's awesome.
Dude, anytime, man. Look, whoever hears this, and even you, all of us together, right? This is a collective, man. Please don't let this die today. I love to keep in touch with y'all and keep, anything that I can do. And, we all need those people around us, to be like, hey man, I'm having a shitty day today. Can you got a second? Yeah, man, I got a second. Yeah. Hit me up. Man, that's what this is. You know what I'm saying? That's what all of this is about, is that the moment for me, and I don't want to go too long, but I was coaching a kid, and maybe this will help people or whatever. If you guys got a few more minutes.
Of course, man. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was coaching this kid. He was 26 years old, getting into real estate. And he was joined a brokerage that I was consulting for. And he had been in the business for about 6 months. And real estate is you only get paid if you sell a house, right? List a house, whatever. So, and he was struggling, and he calls me one day and he's like, hey man, can we jump on a call? And at the time I was working at 2 different offices. So I was leaving one office, going to the other. I told him, hey man, I got a 20-minute, cause if you're not in my schedule, then it's very hard. I said, but I got 20 minutes, bro. Cause he's like, hey, I just have a couple questions. And normally it'd be like, hey, here's my Calendly link, book a time, 15 minutes, whatever. But I was like, hey, I'm going from one office to the next. I'll call you literally in 10 minutes. And it's a 20-minute drive before I got to be in there and coach. So he's like, yeah, that'd be great. So anyways, on the call, he tells me, he's like, hey, I don't know, you're going to be disappointed. And I was like, wait, why are you telling me how I'm going to feel? He's like, well, you've been working really hard with me and I appreciate your time. And, the office is doing so well and all this stuff. And he says, I got to take a job because I don't live with my family. My mom, I can't live with my parents, rough kind of childhood kind of thing, right? And they're like, yo, you're out of here. Go fucking make it on your own, you know?
Mhm.
And he said, so I took a job at Staples. And I said, okay, are you getting completely out of real estate? He goes, no. I want to do real estate. And I said, okay. He's like, but I'm sure, you know, you're not going to coach somebody who has a job. And I was like, why wouldn't I? He's like, well, I don't really know. I said, okay, well, I said, here, I got one condition. He goes, you know, anything. I said, we'll keep working together. I got one condition and one condition only. It's like, yes, please, please, please. I said, okay. When you go to Staples, you're going to be the low man on the totem pole because they just gave you a job, right? They're not hiring, you know, it's an entry-level position. Yes. He goes, yes. I said, you told me because you need the money, right? Yes. I said, okay. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you go there and you just show up because you need the money, then you and I aren't going to work together anymore. I said, but I'll make you a deal on one condition. Whatever you do there, you do it the absolute best that you can possibly do it, the best that it's ever fucking been done. I said, so if they ask you to sweep the floor, you don't go, oh man, no, you go, where's the mop? Where's the broom? Where's whatever? And you sweep that shit the best that it's ever been done. You don't miss a fucking spot. You hit every fucking crevice. You do it like it's the last fucking job on earth. They ask you to stack computers in the back till 3 a.m. You don't fucking whine. You stack them. You reinvent cool ways to stack shit. Like you become the best fucking computer stacker in the history of fucking Staples, to where they name that shit after you, right? Like, and he's like, I said, agree or disagree? He goes, no, okay. And I said, now let me tell you why. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you show up there just to get a fucking paycheck, and this goes out to anybody who's listening, if you just show up because you need a fucking paycheck and that's all you're going to do, you're going to hate that. They're going to hate you. It's going to be terrible. I'm not saying it's your dream job. Staples isn't his dream job, but how you do anything is how you do everything. If you go in there, I told him, and you go in there and you do that job half-ass, then you're going to come to me in real estate and you're going to do this job half-ass.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's not a fucking switch, ladies and gentlemen. You don't just get to go, oh, now I'm going to be great. No, that's not how it fucking works. Every fucking thing you do needs to be the best that you can possibly do it. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying I'm like, no, we all, but if you have that mindset and focus, don't show up just to get a fucking paycheck. I don't care what your job is. That's what it is today. Be responsible for that. Be accountable to it. Do the best that it's ever been done, and watch what happens to your life, because now that rolls over into the rest of your life. So if you're half-assing it in places, guess what? No offense. I'm going to tell you right now, when you told me like, oh, my business was great and I was doing this and then I was lazy and shooting up dope over here, I'm going to tell you right now, you might have thought your business was great. You weren't even fucking scratching the surface for what it could have been. It was good enough, but it wasn't where it even could have been, because you can't have it both ways. I can never be exceptional here and okay over here. Because if you're just doing okay over here, then your limit over here drops.
Oh, yeah.
And it might be good enough, right? There's some people that capacity is still like, I don't know, 200-300 grand a year, $1 million a year, something like that, right? They still got a fucking pretty decent life and good capacity, right?
Right.
But they're half-assing relationships, they're half-assing this, they don't go to the fucking gym, they eat like shit, right? Like whatever, they're late, like all this. That just means that this capacity, even if it's making $1 million fucking dollars right now, that if this gets better, this gets better.
Yeah.
It all of yours is going to rise together. So when I told him that, this was one of those moments that we're talking about right now, is that we got off that phone, we were getting off the phone. He said, thank you so much. He goes, I'm so mad right now. And I was like, why? He's like, because we didn't record that. I go, fuck, you need to hear it again? Yeah, call me. I'll fucking tell you every day. Like, like you should hear my fucking voice in your head when you get to Staples going, motherfucker, don't be a fucking slacker, right? Like, he's like, no. He goes, that's not it. He goes, because there's somebody right now. He goes, I have friends right now that needed to hear that. And I was like, oh, it was like a punch in the face to me, right? It's because I'm like, yo, this dude's right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm limiting myself.
Yeah.
That's a limit. I might be like, oh, we're kicking ass. I got 2 offices. We're doing this. We're doing that, blah, 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 whatever. But the only way you're going to know is if you're in my world, right? If you walk through those brick and mortar buildings to see me or sit in a room with me.
Right.
But what he was saying was, yo, record that shit. Put that shit out there. Somebody again in wherever, Dayton, Ohio, is sitting in his fucking mom's basement wondering why his life sucks. And he gets to hear that and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Here we go, right? We can't limit ourselves. I'm just as bad. I want everyone out there to know I'm not perfect. Matter of fact, far, far from it. I got a lot of fucking work to do. The best, I tell people all the time, the best me is yet to come. I just got to keep working at it, keep meeting people like you guys and talk about it and, hear your story. How do we work together to help somebody else? Because that's what it comes down to, man. You guys are doing it. Don't stop, bro. Keep going. And I mean, we were talking earlier. I don't know if that is going to make the show or not make the show. It doesn't really matter. But what you were saying about getting together and talking about UFC fights or talking about this and just bullshitting and bring it to the table. People need that, right? That's a wonderful side of you guys. Bring it. And at the same time, don't forget to tell your story because your story fucking matters and you've earned the right to tell it. Man, tell it for sure.
That's good stuff, man.
I got one quick question
Bring it.
from my boy here. So
Yeah.
this is a baseball question.
Okay.
So he is doing some service work, coaching for 7 to 8 year olds in Rockingham, North Carolina. That's where we are now, North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay, cool.
So how the hell can he get these punk ass kids to win a game? Because they lost their first game.
We did.
He's like the third string coach, but still.
Yeah.
He needs some advice to get these kids going.
Yeah. Here's what has to happen,
Are they the
man.
worst?
Huh?
I need to go tell them they suck, right?
I didn't hear you say it again.
So I need to go tell them all they suck, right?
No,
Opposite.
I'm kidding.
opposite. Here's it. I mean, at that age, it has to be fun for them. We want them to have like that fire to win. And there's always a few of those kids that do, but you're only as good as that worst kid that you have. Right. So that's the kid that you have to bring along. And so get your top 2 or 3 players. So instead of having those dudes play catch and be in their little, get those top dudes to play catch with the worst dudes. Like change and tell and get those. Don't tell them. That's a wrong thing. That's a wrong word to use. Let them self-discover that they're the leaders, not you.
Okay.
You don't have to be the leader.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
You don't have to be the leader. They're the leaders. They're the ones who win or lose the game, not you. You can't get up there and hit. You can't strike anybody out.
Right.
Let them empower them to be the leaders. Hey, what do you think we should do today? Last game we lost because we walked too many guys. What would you guys do?
That's good.
And you're going to freak them the fuck out because they're going to be like, what? And they might be like, I think we should go to the pool and go swimming and get some fucking ice cream. And you're like, okay, maybe you're right. That's an awesome idea because I like the pool and I fucking love ice cream. We're here at the field. Since we're here, what do you think we should do here? Right? Because I'm down to go to the pool and have ice cream. Like for real, let's do it. Sounds like a fucking blast. But since we're at the field, I don't know, maybe. But if you can get the top players, the best dudes, to embrace the younger, smaller, weaker kids and have them root for them. Remember, all boats rise with the tide. You're only as good as those bottom few kids, right? So get those older kids or the better kids to embrace them and let them be the leaders. Let them lead. Don't think that, they're only 8, so they can't. No bullshit. They know right and wrong. They know how to talk. They know how to treat people. That's all bullshit. We as parents coddle them, or we think we have to tell them, right?
Right.
Don't tell them, fucking show them, right? If look, If you want your kid to make their bed every morning and they walk by your bedroom and your fucking bed's not made, why should they fucking make their bed? Because you said so?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, let's get over ourselves for a second. Like, don't do it because I said so. Show them the way. Teach, literally, not show them. The best leaders on earth are the ones that are in the fucking battle, man, getting their fucking hands dirty, right?
Yeah.
Those are the guys you want to go to battle with. Like, again, as you grow your team, as you build businesses, do I step away from some of that stuff? Sure, I do. But look, if an agent calls me tomorrow and says, will you come on this listing presentation with me? Because I've never done it. And I'm in this, I'm going to coach them first. I'm going to teach them first. And if they're not ready, hell yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Do I need to? Does it change my life? Does it change my financial? Does it make my portfolios written? No, doesn't do jack shit for that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to build the best team in the world. And so sometimes I got to get in there and get my hands dirty. Right.
Yeah.
Don't tell them, show them. And then let them go with it. And right. You got to be okay with the result as well. Right. Okay. Like, come on, boys. Let them be the leaders. Empower them to be leaders, man. Empower them to bring those younger dudes along with them, man. Put your arm around them. Root for that kid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
See what happens.
That's beautiful stuff, man. That's awesome. That's great. Thanks, bro.
Cool, man.
In touch for sure, man.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
All right.
You'll say thanks, man. Appreciate everything, dude. That was awesome.
Anytime, man. Anytime you guys need a fucking guest, you want to get together. Hey, hit me up on the UFC day, man. Let me join that live stream.
Hell
yeah. Next week from today, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next weekend is
Israel.
Israel. Yeah. Vittori. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's tough, man. We'll collab in the future, man. That'd be awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, hit me up. I'm in, bro. I'm in. I appreciate you guys fucking like crazy, man. I'm super grateful we got to spend this time, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right, dudes. Hey, let me know when this goes out. If you guys need anything, send that email, whatever you need, so I can make sure my guys get you any kind of anything that you need for this episode, like, you know, headshots or bios, or if there's anything that you guys do to.
We got a little bit of that going on, and then what we'll probably do is we noticed a drop off in our listenership the last episode because of length. I'm thinking, and I wrote it down just because I forget a lot. Is probably breaking this into 2 episodes.
Yeah,
2-part to keep it going because of that.
Cool.
Great.
It's a great idea. Yeah, the snippets work today in today's world work better for sure from a marketing standpoint.
And no one has an hour and a half anymore. That's why TikTok and Vines, whatever the hell they call it, are just more popular than ever.
Well, and here's the other part, dude. It's teaching us that, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I can get fucking 15 seconds over here. I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a good idea. The snippets. We're doing the same thing with ours. We do post the long form. But then we do little bits and pieces, dude. And I'll be very clear, dude. We're just stealing Joe Rogan's shit. Like, that's it. Like,
I feel
he's the best. He's the best in the world, man. So he still puts out his 3-hour episode, but he has 40, 6 to 8 minute clips from that episode that show, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah, I know that you're doing what's stealing from him and you. I noticed you were doing that the last 2 weeks. So.
Hell yeah. I'm the same way. 10, 15 minutes, bro. Like. But then we'll still put the full episodes out. We got quite a few full episodes coming. We'll put those, but those will still be cut into like 6, 8, 12-minute snippets as well. So it's a great idea for sure.
Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, we want to be part. We got to keep this going, this relationship. This is great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. If I can help you guys in any way, marketing wise, I'll tell you. If you see something and you're like, how did you do that? Hit me up, dude. I'll tell you everything we do.
Hell yeah. I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right, we'll be in touch.
All right, fellas.
Thanks, bro.
Hey, have a good day, man.
Yeah, man. Later.
Dude, that was dope. How cool is this guy?
All right, dude.